When I was a kid, we used to go on road trips. We'd go to the Grand Canyon, we'd go to Las Vegas, whatever. I was born in the 80s, so my mom would play the records of the day and also stuff from the 70s and the 60s. So they played all the way through and then they would start over or we'd move to the next album. And I didn't know, but we would spend countless hours in the car. My ear was being trained. I firmly believe this now. Obviously, how could it not be? Tracy Chapman was one of those. U2's Joshua Tree was one of those. The Thriller album was one of those. George Michael, Queen. I was a huge Queen fan. My family was big into Queen before the movie came out. I watched that Live Aid concert like on repeat my whole childhood. So I think music was always a part of me. I don't know, I just didn't get into it when I was younger. I think parents are influenced. They're worried about, oh, I want my kid to be an upstanding citizen and get a good job and all this stuff, which is good. It's important, obviously it's important. But I think it's also important to pay attention to some of those signs when they're young. You have to say, okay, if you're interested in that thing, these are the things you might want to try. I'm not saying that my parents didn't do that. I'm just saying not every parent recognizes that, nor has the tools or the wherewithal. It doesn't really actually matter. And you're ready when you're ready. And it's always available for you. And I think since I was young, I've always lived in the creative space. I feel like my head is often in the clouds. And I'm like, wouldn't it be interesting if this happened, you know? And that's how my brain works. Daydreaming gets a bad rap. Daydreaming is good. You should pay attention to where are you living when you're daydreaming, because often you're thinking about or fantasizing about the thing that your heart that's calling you. I don't know if it was Stephen King or somebody's been said like you write 1,000,000 words before you're ready to write your first book. And so it's just an exercise. Like you start playing piano today, you're not going to be good. I started playing piano when I was in my 30s. It took me a few years to kind of get into it because I was discouraged. You know, it's like, oh, it's too late. What am I going to do it for? You know, all these voices. And I had other shit I had to deal with, so I sort of put it on hold. But one day I just kind of sat down and I said, you know what, I'm gonna commit to this thing and like really try it. There's been milestones where it's like I was kind of getting along. I was playing a few pieces and then I was like hearing more and more music like Prokofiev, Rachmaninoff, Chopin, all this stuff that sounds out of this world. Wow, is it really possible that someone could actually play that? Well, yeah, it is, because you're watching them do it. And then I started asking myself, well, like, do they have something that I don't have? But could I do what they do? Yeah, probably. Is there a path to do it? So at one point, I met with my teacher. Her name was Elena. I love her very much. I told her, I said, you know what, I think I really want to do this. Like, I want to play Clair de Lune. I want to play Rachmaninoff. And she's like, you really got to commit. Like, there is no short road, you know? When you see Daniel Trifonov or you see Yuzha Wang or you see Long Long on stage, you're seeing multiple decades of commitment of them beating their brains out in a private room and losing their mind, probably, most likely. Like my current teacher's teacher woke her up at 5 o'clock in the morning and made her play Hanon exercises for like 3 hours. Like, that's the kind of fucking discipline you have to have. We definitely live in the world of expediency. We want everything right now. I know I do. I don't want to wait. I mean, we all humans suffer from that. People approach things sometimes and they don't really think about what it actually takes. Really anything. Don't skip the steps. If you skip steps, you'll have holes in your game later. If there's a mistake that you see, you have to stop and look at the mistake and analyze it and fix the shit before you move on. Earlier today, I was practicing some of this stuff we're talking about, and when you're in it, you're like, man, this really sucks. You look at the book and it weighs 1,000 pounds. When you pick it up, you're like, you know, it's like when you used to do your history homework. It's easier said than done, man. I'm working on it now.